Hi, Vera.
Hi, Kira.
Thank you for coming on my channel.
You're welcome.
So I've got Vera on today because Vera has a speciality. And Vera is an animal communicator, and she also is an intuitive clairvoyant reader, oracle tarot, that kind of stuff. And I will put her links in the description if anybody is interested in getting in contact with Vera. Okay. So, Vera, I've got you on today because, well, my kind of speciality is mindfulness. And I've recently been talking about being in the present moment more and how we can do that. And I wanted to talk about the animals. So my understanding is that animals find it easier, it's more natural for animals to live in the present moment.
It's
Is
their
that true?
natural it's their natural way of living.
Yes.
Any
Yeah.
animal.
And so is that supposed to be the way for us as well? Do you think, is that like our core, is that like our caveman way of being
It's
present?
not really a caveman way of living,
Okay.
but I do feel it's also a natural way of living for people.
Okay.
And my last dog was that biggest teacher in that. Especially when afterwards I know his pelvic area wasn't that good.
Okay.
And we just walked, following his nose, sniffing everywhere, just letting him do. And then he just put his butt down, laid down, looked up. I didn't say anything. I just sat with him and just be. And
Yeah.
that can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And then we move to another spot.
Mm.
And I feel walking with an animal is not about how many mileage you make or how long you're out.
Okay.
Just be
Yeah.
in the present with your animal.
Actually, it's really good advice, because I'm always afraid that with my dog Rosie that I don't walk her enough. Have I walked far enough? Things like that. Certainly, with my dog Rosie, when we got her, she was so incredibly playful, and in that puppy mode, she just wanted to play all the time. And I just found that even when I didn't want to, I did, and she reminded me how to play myself. And I find that a really beautiful thing, that, that these animals, these dogs and all sorts of animals, really pull us out of ourselves and make us be more in the present moment, where we can get so caught up in our own minds and forget, that life is for living and enjoying.
And about a puppy stage, it's also, yes, they live in the present. They play when they want to.
Mm.
But when they live with the family, with mom and dad, like in a natural setting, from
Yeah.
puppy age, from younger one, the parents teach them also how to relax. Oh, you're getting tired. Okay. Oh, you keep going. They just put the paw on the kid, on the puppy, and just press, and eventually they fall asleep.
Okay.
They use their paws even when they get in the danger.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see the mother literally put the paw in front of that, pushing back. Get out there.
Mm.
Because pups don't know when it is dangerous. They see everything as play.
Yeah.
And puppies, usually when they get tired, they start playing even more.
Yes. Yeah.
But then a bit more chewy like.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
what do also most humans do? Oh, they sit on the floor and they start playing with the puppy.
Yeah.
You're giving them, in fact, a mixed signal.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
when you have them from a young age, and every time when you sit down and they come to you to play and you engage,
Mm.
you're teaching them when you sit down, it's playtime.
Well, that makes sense. As soon as we sit down, she runs and she jumps at us and she's like in our faces, wanting to lick us, etc.
And that's okay for a
Yeah.
moment, because when you see that when they're with little mates and they play, and then eventually they just settle down.
Mm.
So that little playtime when you are sitting down has to lead, that's in my idea,
Mm.
has to lead to them falling asleep.
Yeah. Mm.
And that's when because when they are getting tired, they're getting
Mm.
hyped up, but in a way, you teach them to go beyond their boundaries.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting. Something that came to mind while you were talking there, and what you said is great. Um, is that it's interesting that when they want to do something, they'll just go and do it, and not agonize over it or think about it like we do. Um, they have an automatic sense of what they need in any given moment. So we talk about feelings. I suppose it's a big subject. Do animals have feelings in that sense? But which they do. And animals also, they know when they're hungry, they know when they're tired, when they get past the puppy stage, or they get used to, when they grow up a little bit. But they instantly know what they need, and they nourish their bodies, or they give us, a little signal to tell us what they need. But we don't seem to do that as human beings. So what I'm saying is, I suppose that there's a lot that we can learn from animals to, in a way. That's kind of what mindfulness is. I mean, it's what it is about. It's reconnecting the mind and body, and getting to know ourselves again, and getting to know what are we feeling, what do we need in
Animals
this
are
moment.
animals are the biggest teachers.
Yeah.
They showing it, but and that's a harsh question. Are you willing to see what they're telling you?
Yeah.
Because when they come to you, and you from a very young age don't properly respond to the signs they give you,
Mm.
they eventually will give up, because animals communicate, dogs communicate, cats communicate.
Yeah.
And just when don't let the animal know, but just when you're sitting, look at the corner of your eye what they are doing,
Mm.
because they go down when they're getting tired, especially when they're older, because they have to learn that. You
Mm.
can teach them from young age, and humans use too many words,
Okay. Explain that a
way
little
too many,
more to me. Yeah.
way too many words. Because
Okay.
they usually, when you see say your dog do something,
Hmm.
no, 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 no. But what does happen? And when you start studying, and yes, they are domesticated, so
Hmm.
you have to put that in equation.
Hmm.
But when you say no, until you feel the animal start to listen,
Yeah.
that silent, frozen energy, and you can visualize, pull that energy back, pull it away. You're not listening, you're not a part of the family, stay there. It's the quickest way to let them know that what they're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
Even when they start to play with things that's not allowed, and you I gotta intervene. I gotta intervene. Your
Mm,
energy is interacting.
mm,
So they will always go to that moment that you are interacting because they want attention.
yeah.
So take that away
Mm,
from them and give them attention in a way like children. Give them attention on the moments that are good,
mm.
and you have a totally different dog or totally different animal.
Yeah. Now, what you did there is really interesting as well, because we were talking about this before we started recording. Is that when you said no, those two different ways, there's a very distinct difference in the energy that you're giving across to the animal. So we were talking about how animals read energy. They're in the present moment, and yes, they do judge in the sense that they read energy, but they are generally, known for being non-judgmental, so they're not making a decision, and going back and forth about judging you because of the way that you look or anything like that. They're actually reading the energy, aren't they?
They're even, they can really badasses on getting on your nerves.
Okay.
They play you.
Mm-hmm.
When you feel like you're gonna get angry because of what that restless feeling,
Mm.
when you have animals are smart, usually even way smarter than most people. When they're smart and you're getting restless because they're naughty and you're walking around like everything, and then they start to do something, they already, it could be even before, up to an hour before they actually do something that is not right,
Mm.
so that you respond. They are already playing with your energy.
Yeah. Mm. Mm.
And to have an idea, when I've had two Bernese Mountain Dogs for 5.5 weeks together before I had to let go of the oldest that I had first.
Mm.
My Indy, that was the one I had first, didn't get what she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Benji could act out, pretty much barking. He had taught himself to be the bad boy. So Benji started barking, and I felt something was off. So what normally would you do? The one that's acting up, you tell them, you show them that's not the way it should.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt an energy in my back because that was on the other. So I turned around. Don't you push him up to that. Don't do that. She went silent, but he too.
Mm.
So they can push your buttons big time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Every day. Every day I get the runaround.
Because so many humans, so many people are
Yeah.
oblivious of how they can play with your energy.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I did a little bit of research. I mean, we know that having an animal can be good for us to reduce stress and, reduce anxiety and things like that. And, of course, there are, different dogs and animals that are used as service dogs to help people with kind of neurodiverse conditions as well, such as autism. Um, and, if somebody needs
PTSD.
anxiety help out and about, yeah, absolutely. Um, but it does actually cause a positive chemical reaction within the body as well, um, specifically a decrease in cortisol, um, and it also lowers blood pressure as well within the body. And then, of course, we think about the knock-on effects of that and how positive that is to restore balance to the body too. So have you got any particular examples or experiences do you know what are the animals that you have at the moment currently then? Because you've had
At this
animals for years. I know
point,
you've worked with horses and things like that too, which is
I've
interesting.
had throughout, because the town were some farms.
Mm.
Keep in mind, Dutch farms, so they're not huge, 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 huge. So I've been between cows, between sheep, uh, of course, horses, dogs, and all kinds. And what you say, when as a child, I had a pony, a small horse. We call that pony because of the height.
Mm-hmm.
When I had a bad day at school, bullied, I would go up there and sometimes I was so pissed. And as a kid, you don't know how to ventilate it.
Mm-hmm.
Got on his back, usually without saddle, and you could see in the eye and the ears, he did everything I asked without questioning it. And then he felt all of a sudden, of course, it was with me like, phew, okay, it's out of my system. Well, he gave it back. Rodeo!
Yeah.
And I loved it. That
Mm.
that horse had the, yeah, I don't want to say tenacity, but the
Mm.
probably even the mindfulness to
Mm-hmm.
all that energy, all that anger.
Yeah.
And I did not be in any way hard on him or abusive.
Yeah.
It was with the connection we had, it was just getting out of my system.
Yeah.
And then he released it again, and in a way that I started laughing so loud that, yeah, about a mile away they could hear me.
I mean, in a way, that horse kind of knew you better than you know yourself. I suppose that's why horses are used uh, so often for.
Even before I got to the stables,
Yeah.
the way he looked up already, he was looking me coming in.
Mm.
He knew. Because
Mm.
when I would be happy and I walked in, he was all happy. And when I had that bad day,
Mm.
you could see him. And then he would stand like, okay, bring it on. I can take it. I know you need to release. They know. And that's the therapeutic side of the animals.
Yeah. Yeah. They're amazing. Now, I just want to be clear. I'm not saying that everybody should go out and get an animal if you don't have an animal. The idea of this is to understand the animals in a way that we may not have thought about before, and look at how mindfulness, how our animals can help us in our mindfulness journey, I suppose, in that
It
sense.
can, if when you're ready to see it, when you want to see it, that Brunish Mountain dog Indy I've had, we would walk around all of a sudden and we see a guy sitting on a post like the whole world was like the most worst place to be in.
Mm.
I was not able to walk past that guy. Indy would
Wow.
walk straight up, sit in front of him, and look at him.
Mm.
Started talking. I didn't know it back then, but I gave a message, even though that his family were alive. I knew because they were on the other side of the world, and money wise, he couldn't contact. And
Mm.
we started talking. He walked away. Oh, something is cut behind my ear. my and that guy, you could see him. The whole world was lifted off his shoulder.
Wow.
So if you cannot afford to have an animal in your life for money reasons, work reasons, or whatever,
Hmm.
accept the gifts a passing by animal is willing to give you.
I love that. That gives me shivers. That does. That is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
It is something you don't know.
There's
After
tons I don't know.
no, after Benji passed, Ellie had a reading. They
Right.
did a reading for me, and she said, "I don't know." All of a sudden, animals come through, and she said, "Don't, well, at least expect that there's going to be a golden retriever that is going to give you the biggest hug, and you will recognize the energy."
Wow.
And I looked at her. I told her it already happened yesterday.
Wow.
Two goldens, and they were going back and forth. But then the youngest, that was probably more open,
Mm.
came up to me, and I felt the energy of Benji come over her. She
Oh.
looked in my eyes and gave me the biggest hug I could get from an animal.
Oh.
And another one in class, had the same experience. She also loved Benji, and
No.
she had the same hug from a golden the next morning.
No. Wow. Synchronicity.
So,
Amazing. So just so people know, Benji is your dog that's recently passed on, isn't it?
yeah,
Oh, with love from
in
Benji.
August 2nd last year.
Oh, so sorry about that. But
But
you seem
he
to have
had a
such
great
a
age.
great relationship with him in spirit in some ways, in a lot of ways. Um, yeah. So what animals have you got in the house at the moment? You've got hamsters?
No,
No? Oh, they've got a new home,
guinea
don't they?
pigs.
They do. Okay.
Hamster and little, these are guinea pigs.
Oh, guinea pigs. My apologies.
Yeah.
I'll do my research better next time.
Oh, it's so many that make it's normal because hamsters are this small,
Okay.
and these are,
Guinea pigs are, yeah. Okay.
but they're big. Well, not big, but
Mm.
they are. So yeah, and they are also, even though I cannot pick them up because of the way they were treated when they were tiny bundles of
Oh.
going into the guinea pigs,
Mm.
not mistreated but misunderstood treated.
Okay.
Because in nature, guinea pigs run for anything that comes from above. Prey, bird of prey, pick them up.
Okay.
And both of them, when I was going to pick them up, they were chased by hands coming from top, person leaning all over the cage, and especially the oldest, that is still fearful from being picked up.
Oh, bless. Oh, bless.
But the way they interact, I just make sure they have enough space, they eat, and they talk,
No.
and they help their humans or their family also. Because when you hear a guinea pig chirp, yes, chirp, like birds. Cheep, 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 cheep. It can either be someone new, not so very nice, is coming to your house, or nasty incoming energies,
Mm.
negative energy.
Oh, okay. So they would give you a warning.
They warn, yes, not every, if you have a watcher,
Mm-hmm.
so that looks out for its flock, that makes those sounds.
Interesting. Wow. Well, we've got 5 minutes. So I just wanted to maybe give our audience a little bit of an idea. What kind of situations have you intervened in? I know there's a couple, particularly, that you intervened in where, where people have needed an animal communicator, or an animal communicator has been really useful and helpful.
Yeah, usually when you cannot find out why the animal is doing this or this or this or this, and it's something when I get the animals do connect with me, I don't connect with them. That's the
Okay.
difference. Most animal communicators connect with the animal, but I just start talking to the owner, and then the animal, because of the way things I said, connects to me, and that's when I start literally relaying what they need.
Mm.
And a friend had a rescue, and after 2 weeks, and she was in complete shock. Out of the blue, that little doggy attacked without warning. When people say without warning, red flags go off with me.
Sure.
Because earlier I talked about how animals can manipulate our energy.
Sure. Yes.
If you never confident and you have been are especially have experience with dogs, and you have a rescue, and out of the blue you feel extremely nervous, there's a highly likely chance that that rescue is telling you, I don't feel comfortable.
Hmm.
So what she started to do, and she did it all, she only had to do it for 2 weeks, a week, 2 weeks. The minute she felt that vibration, oh my God, the nerves coming in her body, she just turned around, walked away.
Okay.
And it took 2 weeks. Total different dog. Doggy trusted her. So they built up such a big trust that she could guide that little doggy through other situations that was like, I don't know. Okay, we'll follow. So when the doggy was, I don't know, she just went with him and go around with a big arch.
Yeah.
Couple of months in, and everyone loves the doggy. While they first were like, "Oh, you should get rid of him. You should go euthanize him because of it, or her."
Goodness. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. These are, without education, these are the kind of scenarios, and these are the kind of decisions that people will make. It's interesting that you talk about, and I've seen it a lot on kind of dog training shows and things like that while I've been trying to learn how to look after my little Rosie. Actually, can you send me a picture of Benji, and I'll put Benji on the front with Rosie on a picture for YouTube. Yeah, send that over to me, because I thought of that. And what you're basically saying, if I'm understanding you correctly, is that to own an animal, you need to be in the present moment yourself in order to be able to connect with the animal.
Or be fully open
Mm,
to learn from your animal.
being in that state of curiosity, in that sense.
Indy, yes,
Yeah.
Indy was the
Okay.
one that taught me about unconditional love.
Yeah.
Benji took it from what she taught me to be in the present moment. Because when I've had my moments because I had to heal too, that I could blow up and he would stand right in front of me with his big mouth. Bernice Martin that opens their mouth to you are impressive. So sometimes I was like, but I also had to learn to tell him, not now, please, it needs out. Give me some time. He needs to learn that sometimes it's just a release.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he took it when I started to calm down from there. But he
Okay.
made me aware of how I could throw with my energy when I was angry.
Mm.
And he just stood right in between.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. I think it's a great ending actually to a great video. It's been so nice having you on, Vera, and I think that there's so much that we can learn from animals, and I'd absolutely love you to come on again at some point. When something relevant comes up. Animals are always relevant, aren't they, to a certain extent? But they teach us
I
so much
love
in the present moment, and they teach us about unconditional love, 100%.
And I love the mindful ways. People always think it's about humans.
Yeah, exactly.
But it totally fits in with animals, except then this animal is your mindful teacher.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. So good. Thank you, Vera.
And thank you for inviting me for this.
You're
I
welcome.
enjoyed it.
Oh, take care. Thank you so much. Bye, Vera.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.